Hey, what's up, everyone? It's another Around the Block, another Thursday night. We missed last week because we're in Miami for the Miami Crypto Experience. It was a great event. If you didn't make it, make sure you get to the next one. It's in October. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure I get this shared out to a couple other places before we get started. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be covering my workshop, talking about what I covered at the workshop at the Miami Crypto Experience, the case for cryptocurrency. Because actually today, on my lunch break, I found myself explaining the same topic to someone. And multiple times this past week, I've been talking about the same topics over and over. People have a hard time understanding what is Bitcoin, what is cryptocurrency, why does it even have value? Like, what is it even about? And that's what I want to talk about, because to understand that, you have to understand the current monetary system, which most people don't understand. And so that's my goal today, is to make sure that you understand, even if you don't understand what Bitcoin is yet, even if you don't understand what cryptocurrency is yet, let's talk about the case for cryptocurrency. Why do we even need it? And then we'll go in, and then I'll talk to some basics about it and point you towards some resources, like I always do, about where you can learn more, because that is really the key to understanding this. That's the key to benefiting long term. Anybody can jump in and throw money at cryptocurrency, and you think you're a genius because it goes up. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that happen within the space that, especially in a bull market right now, where the market's in an overall upward trend, you think you're a genius. In 2016, 2017, we all thought we were geniuses because we would put money in something and it would go up. And in 2018, 2019, when the market pulled back, the market was in a big dip, a bear market, what we call. It was really humbling to see. And you realize the best way to set yourself up for long-term success, if you want to get involved with cryptocurrency, then you need to understand it. You need to learn a little bit each day. And it's hard to wrap your mind around it at first. So that's why I do these Thursday lives, just to get people to get started, start looking into it. And because, like I said, my phone has been blowing up every week. I get call after call after call about what is Bitcoin. All right, I'm ready to listen. People I've been talking to for 5-6 years that now are ready to listen. And you're not going to understand it in one talk. You're not going to understand it in one day. And hey, what's up, Josh? What's up, Miggy? Akash as well. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. So I'm actually going to go over what I covered in my workshop, the case for cryptocurrency. And you need to understand, because most people don't understand the current monetary system. I get calls all the time from people saying, well, how is this different from the dollar? The dollar is backed by gold. People still to this day in 2021 think that the dollar is backed by gold. It's not. The dollar was taken off the gold standard before most of us were even born. Back in the early 70s, Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard, and our dollar has been devalued ever since. It's been constantly inflated. Last year alone, we saw 25% of all dollars in the U.S. Yeah, Mickey, I saw you wearing that shirt. I saw, 25% of all dollars that are in circulation right now were created in the last year. Stimulus package. Everybody wants their stimulus package, but what's the cost? What's the true cost of that? Have you bought groceries lately? Do you see what the cost of groceries are now? It's going up. Plywood, wood in general, right? If you're trying to build something right now, it's about 3 times the cost now than it was a year ago. They can blame that shit on COVID, but it's not COVID. COVID did not cause this. This is the cost of goods being inflated, especially goods that are being imported, because the purchasing power of our dollar is going down. And you can hide some of those costs within some goods that are created within the U.S. for a certain period of time, but eventually it drops. Eventually the purchasing power of the dollar drops, prices go up. That's why things keep getting more expensive. And history has been littered with case after case over the last thousands and thousands of years. Anytime a fiat currency system has existed, which is what we live in, meaning that the dollar has no true value, our money has no true value. And that's not just the U.S. Wherever you're watching this from in the world, your government is running a fiat system that they're constantly manipulating and constantly inflating. So if you're holding dollars in a bank, you're losing money. Why do you think companies like Tesla and MicroStrategy and Square and all these big companies are buying millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin right now? It's not just because they want Bitcoin to go up in value and it's a good investment. It's because it's irresponsible for anybody, including large companies. If you're holding cash reserves, it's irresponsible to leave it all in dollars, because dollars are losing value. So that's why it's important to understand that. And how does cryptocurrency work? Cryptocurrency gives you some key concepts that are missing from our current system. Our current monetary system is a system of manipulation, a system of control, a system of surveillance. And I'm going to tell you how you can tell this. So when you make a payment with a card, with a bank card, debit card, whatever the case may be, what does it say on the screen when it goes through? It says transactions approved. Your transaction needs to be approved by a third party. They've got to give you permission to spend your money. And again, today I found myself on the phone for 20 minutes with my bank because they had blocked my card again, and I was trying to get it undone so I can make a purchase. Frustrating. Bitcoin cryptocurrency is peer-to-peer. Nobody can block it. Nobody can stop it. So instead of saying transaction approved like it does when I swipe my card, when I make a cryptocurrency transaction, it says it's confirmed. Confirmed means there's no permission needed. The permission is already there, like it's permissionless. So that allows me to transact. And in countries in the US, most of them haven't experienced many issues with our money, but it's coming. It's happening slowly. You can see it year after year. But when you talk to people, like conversations I've had, like the attorney that lives in Venezuela, that if he wouldn't have been in Bitcoin, he would have lost everything, wouldn't have been able to survive. And you think, well, attorneys make good money no matter where they live in the world. That's true. But what happens when your entire country's economy collapses? The money becomes hyperinflated. You've probably seen the pictures, money on the ground in the streets of Venezuela, because it's not even worth the effort to pick it up. That's where Bitcoin has become a savior. Cryptocurrency for them is not just a speculative investment. It's a way of life. You think about people in Zimbabwe where their money has been grossly inflated. And now this guy that lives in the US and his mother lives in Zimbabwe, he can send her Bitcoin instantly, and she can walk in and pay shop owners with Bitcoin from her phone to their phone on top of a failed economic system because the money in Zimbabwe has collapsed. And let's also talk about the billions of people in the world that are excluded from access to any financial systems. No, they don't have access. It's not that they have limited access. A lot of people have limited access, but they have zero access. They're cut off. And now cheap cell networks, cheap solar panels can power cell phones that give anybody in the world access to the current economy, the current financial system, and the future of that system is decentralized. Anytime you put someone in power, it gets corrupted. If you were to put me or anybody watching this video right now in control of the money supply, eventually you become corrupted. Whether it's you or the people you pass it down to, it corrupts over time. And history always repeats itself. Every fiat currency that has ever existed in the history of the world has eventually returned back to its value of zero. So what gives cryptocurrency value? Trust. You can build trust in a decentralized system. If you don't trust the value of the dollar, you're not going to accept it for payment. But if you can accept and trust that cryptocurrency is not duplicated, it can't be replicated, then you have trust that that's going to have value, and you can give it. That the market will give it value. The fact that it has limited supply of the different types of cryptocurrencies out there, starting with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is so valuable because it's a limited supply, and the demand continues to grow. What happens when the demand continues to grow and the supply is limited? Prices rise. And that's what happens with Bitcoin. You may think it's expensive. Is Bitcoin expensive at 55, 60,000? No, because even if Bitcoin hits 500,000 per Bitcoin, you can still buy a small piece of it. You can still buy $5 worth of Bitcoin, $10 worth of Bitcoin. You can still do that. It's the same for all the other cryptocurrencies that are out there. And yeah, look, don't get me wrong. There's thousands of cryptocurrencies right now. There's new crap coming on the market every day. We see a brand new shitcoin every week, and people are pumping money at it. But those aren't going to last. But there's select few. My guess is that 20 or less, and maybe even 50 or less, they're going to have real world use case, real adoption, and really just grow rapidly. And the rest of them are going to fall away because they don't have a lot of tech behind it. Like Dogecoin, I'm sorry if you love Dogecoin, make your money with it and get the hell out, because it's not going to last. 8,000 new Dogecoin are created every minute. It's an ever inflating supply that's built into the code of Dogecoin, and there's been no real development on that project since 2014. So yeah, Elon Musk can pump it right now, and a lot of people that don't understand why they're buying it just throwing money at it, but it's not going to last. Hey, what's up, Nathan? What's up, Jennifer? So that's why it's important to understand for long-term investing. You need to understand this, because if you tell me I get calls all the time. People, I want to invest in Dogecoin. How to do it? Look, if you want to buy it and ride this quick pump and get the hell out, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that to make some money. But don't sit in this as a long-term investment. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a select few others that you got to learn about are going to really be the catalyst that make it. Now, I'm not saying that any of these new coins coming out can't make it, but there's more risk to it. There's some that I've put in recently, just a few $100s, and they've gone up drastically. But I was willing to lose that. There's risk associated with every investment. So just understand that for me, it's a long-term game. And I teach this all the time, dollar cost average to get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So I want to share with you a few slides from my workshop last week in Miami and what I covered, because anybody can teach you how to trade. Anybody can teach you what you need to know about cryptocurrency. But why is it important? What is the case for cryptocurrency? So I'm going to show you what it is. All right. So what is cryptocurrency and blockchain? This was my first slide opening up in Miami. And I use this picture. I've used this picture when I've spoken in front of crowds for the last, really since 2018. So the last, call it, 3 years, I've been using this slide to teach people about crypto, because most people come to me wanting to know about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin because they want to make money in it. And that's really why I came in first. I was looking to make some money. When you understand that this is truly a tech revolution that's going to change the world, the same way the internet has revolutionized the world, from the world that we were living in before the 90s to the world we live in now, this is what's going to happen with our money, with our tech, because money has been corrupted by people in power over years. And this is a way to take back, because nobody has to give me permission. If I want to transact with Nathan and he wants to buy a hat for me in Bitcoin, which he's got one just like this, right? He can pay me. He can send Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency from his wallet to my wallet. Nobody has to approve it. Nobody can block it. It is peer-to-peer permissionless system. It's a decentralized system that instead of one point of control, thousands and hundreds of thousands of computers around the world in one way or another are securing that network, verifying transactions on the network, and making that happen. So it's a better way. It's a better system than what we currently have, because let's face it, prices, like I said earlier, prices are not just going up because of the cost of goods or COVID. COVID is just an excuse to say what is really happening. So I've told you about the ever inflating supply of dollars. I've told you about why people in control always corrupt the money system. But let's compound that with fractional reserve banking. If you or I decided to go to the bank tomorrow, and everybody that has money, and I threw this question out at the workshop. I said, how many people here have money in the bank? And a bunch of people raised their hands. The fact is, you have no money in the bank. If you have a balance on a ledger in the bank, that bank is not required to keep any reserves. Up until last year, banks were required to keep around 10% in reserves. So if you deposited $1,000, they were only required to keep $100 in reserves, and they could loan the other 900 out. And then imagine that cycle happen over a few times, right? That initial $1,000 can create thousands of dollars of fake dollars in circulation. Ever inflated supply. If we all went to the bank tomorrow to get our money out, the bank would not be able to do it. Try to take a large amount out of a bank and see what happens. They would try to freeze your money. They're going to want to know why you are trying to spend your own money, even if you're legitimate, even if everything you've done is legal. And they hide it under the guise of protecting people from criminals, from money laundering. And that's not what it is. 99.9% of the people using money that are like you and I are doing it for legitimate reasons. That fraction of a percent that's corrupt is their excuse they're using to control, manipulate, and monitor your money and your spending. And that's why it's important to understand that. So I'm going to show you a slide real quick. So what problem does Bitcoin solve? It hedges against inflation, right? It's fractional reserve banking is a broken system. It's peer-to-peer, permissionless. It solves a double spend issue with transactions, which is a problem that would have with early money. So let's move on. And Bitcoin was the first. So I tell everybody, Bitcoin, everything has been created since Bitcoin. Bitcoin is what led us to where we are today. If it wasn't for the creation of Bitcoin, we wouldn't have all these other cryptocurrencies. Everything since has been some kind of alteration, improvement, or some kind of differentiation from Bitcoin's technology. But one way or another, it was spawned from Bitcoin. I'm not saying that everything came from Bitcoin's code. I'm saying that led to more and more people developing and creating new projects and building the Ethereums of the world, the Tezos, the Cardanos, all these other projects that are built out from Bitcoin. So January 3rd, 2009, the first block of Bitcoin was mined. And the reason I show you this newspaper is because the first block of the Bitcoin blockchain had this message, this headline: Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. This was a powerful message for to show what happened in 2008. Corruption in the banking system. Banks needed to be bailed out. Companies need to bail out. We had an economic collapse. And was it your fault? Was it my fault? No, it was the fault of the people in power. And yeah, Nathan, I see your comment about Chase. We solved that here. With my wife and I, we've got the old Chase Bank building. We're using it for something else now. So that was when Bitcoin was first created, and it evolved into, now it's being used like digital gold. It's being used as a store of value. Every cryptocurrency is evolving into its particular use case. But that was where it started. January 3rd, 2009, the first block of Bitcoin was mined. And this is where you need to really understand what's going on here. And I'm going to back out so you can see this. All right. So the one up on the left, this is money. It used to say silver certificate. If you notice at the top of that top $1 bill, it says silver certificate. So the money either said gold certificate or silver certificate. And the second one where it says this is debt, now it's been replaced with Federal Reserve note. There's nothing backing your dollar other than the trust you better redeem it for value. But while you're hoping that dollar continues to hold its value, it's not. It's being more and more and being printed. If I just created more and more money out of thin air, then the value would continue to go down. Would you have trust if I was just printing money out of my house, out of my building? So this is the fractional reserve banking cycle here. And this was with the 10% reserve. And now remember, I said there's zero requirements. You can have zero reserves. You can loan you can put $1,000 into their bank, and the bank can loan out that full $1,000. So $1,000 goes into the bank, 900 goes to a loan to someone, and 100 goes into reserves. This is the old system. That's $900 that's being loaned to somebody else. That person then could take that $900 and deposit into a bank. Out of that, $810 goes to a loan out to someone else, and only $90 goes into reserve. So that happens again. And the third time, there's just 3 steps in this. And remember, there can be multiple steps in an economy. $3,439 was created from that initial $1,000, and the bank is only holding $271. That is a broken system, and that also leads to inflation. So that's why it's important to understand what's happening with our monetary system. That's why Bitcoin. Look, you can understand how blockchain works. How does it have value? How does something that you can't even touch? We can get to that later. Understand now that the system is broken, and there's a better way. And you've got to really dive into that, because for you and I, we can get into cryptocurrency right now as a speculative investment. For our kids and our future grandkids, it's going to be important. It's a way of life. They need to understand that. So we've got to learn it first. We've got to be the ones to encourage them to learn it as well, because our kids are going to grow up in a world where they're not going to understand. I got to wait 3 to 5 days for a deposit to clear. No, I can have a transaction clear from one side of the globe to the other instantly with cryptocurrency. And that's the power of it. And I'll tell you, last week, putting on the Miami crypto experience, most people don't realize how much hardships we had having to pull our own money together, having to pull funds when we had raised enough money to hold the event, but PayPal decided to freeze our funds because they didn't like the fact that the amount of transactions coming through our website was a high number, and they needed more information. So most people didn't realize that we had to float it with our own personal credit cards, sell a little bit of crypto just to make that event happen last week, when we had money in the bank, but we had money in PayPal that they would not let us use because they needed more information. And I hear that horror story from people time and time again. PayPal is no better than the banks. It's the same system. We need to get out of that system of control and get into a system where we have our own control, because that event almost didn't happen last week. And most people don't even realize that, and there was multiple times that we had that hurdle happen. 4 times in the last month, we had our funds frozen, either from PayPal, from the bank, and hell, even Square canceled our account. Square, which holds Bitcoin, because and all we had was 1 transaction. I'm guessing because the name of our company has the word crypto in it. No other reason. We only had a few transactions come through Square, and we got an email with no explanation saying we're canceling your account. So that is what's happening with the current system. And don't get me wrong, banks are scared. They're becoming obsolete. Why do you need a bank anymore? Banks are becoming obsolete. As decentralized finance evolves, and you can use decentralized finance tools as collateral, and you can become your own bank. Why do you need a bank? Why do you even need PayPal? Well, when you got crypto wallets, you don't need an organization like PayPal. PayPal is only getting into Bitcoin to discourage other people from taking control of their own money, which is why you can't withdraw Bitcoin from PayPal. You can't send Bitcoin to PayPal. And if I want to send Bitcoin from me to Jennifer in PayPal, I can't do it right now because all you're doing is holding an idea. The PayPal's holding your money and telling you own Bitcoin because all they got to do is pay the difference when you sell it because they won't allow you to withdraw it. So that's the system that's broken right now. And that's what we've got to get out of to realize that, let me see. And I go back to this slide. This is where you have to really understand. You may not understand Bitcoin tomorrow. You may not understand how blockchain works. You may not understand what mining is or what staking is. And none of that shit really matters right now because your level of investment in cryptocurrency should equal your understanding. But get started. I was talking to somebody today, even if you're putting a little bit, $50 a week, $100 a week, $10 a week, it doesn't matter. Just start to understand it, or at least create accounts on exchanges and start to hold a little bit of it. Last week at the Miami Crypto Experience, we had a great security team that was helping us. We had a security team that we hired, and those guys were phenomenal. And talking to a few of them, they didn't hold Bitcoin. So what did I do right there? Walk them through setting up a Bitcoin wallet and sent each one of them a little bit of Bitcoin to make sure that, okay, now you're holding it. Now take the time to understand it. So that's why it's important that we do this and you help other people understand and learn more about cryptocurrency. Make it easier. You don't have to understand how it all works, right? I don't need to explain to you how blockchain technology works to understand that it works the way it does. And anybody that understands code can look at it. Just like you don't need to understand how a combustion engine works to operate your car, you just need to understand how to operate it. What do you need to do to make it work? And it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. You don't have to understand code or how cryptography works or how proof of work or proof of stake works. You just need to understand that it works. It's a better system and it's taking control away. No one can manipulate. You have total control of your money if you choose to take it. Now, there's other things you need to learn: security, two-factor authentication, how to protect yourself, because you become your own bank. You become your own security, and it's important to take control of that. So that's why it's important to understand it. It doesn't matter. Look, if you want to just jump into the hype and throw money at projects, that's not really, you're not really getting into cryptocurrency. You're just getting into degenerative gambling. And don't get me wrong, I did some of that in the early days as well. But you need to take the time to understand it. If you're just throwing money at shit coins that pop up every day or every other day, then you're giving somebody else your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or whatever you're paying with. They're taking the good crypto and they're feeding you shit coins. But if you really take the time to understand it and go into projects that you truly feel behind, are you always going to pick winners? No, there's one I think back from 2017. I'll kind of embarrass myself here on this one that I thought was going to be big, and it was called BitShares. And I put some money in it, and it had a lot of tech. And really, what I learned is when the market shifted and new technology was coming out, it kind of became, it's not really that great of a project anymore. Could it come back? Absolutely. But I realized there was other things that are really innovative in the space, and that's where I moved into that. Yeah, Andrew's saying dollar cost average. Look, I'll leave you with that. That's one thing that I feel big about is dollar cost average, DCA. If you put 50, I did a scenario for someone a while back in December, and I checked it the other day. If you started December 2017 to December 2020, 3 years, and you put $50 a week into Bitcoin, over that 3-year period, you would have put in $7,950. That $7,950 would now be worth about $65,000 right now, today, $50 a week. Do you really miss $50 a week? Can you live without it? If you can live without it, that's fine, because that's the other thing. If you put a lot of money into crypto and you overextend yourself, when the market does take a dip, remember, we're early still, so it's still very volatile. So the market could drop 10, 15, 20% tomorrow. If it does for you, you may panic and freak out because you've overextended yourself and you don't have the belief of where it's going in the future. If Bitcoin dropped 50% tomorrow, I'm jumping for joy. Why? Because I know where this thing's going to be in 3 to 5 years, and that gives me a chance to accumulate some more at a lower price. But if you're not there yet, don't overextend yourself. Because will it pay off in the long run? Absolutely. But you're going to give yourself some ulcers if you don't take the time to understand this technology. So that's it, everybody. That was really what I wanted to share. That was part of what I talked about in Miami. Understanding the case for crypto and also having the right mindset. If you're not trading it every day, if you're not like actively day trading, don't check the price every hour. Don't hit refresh every 30 minutes on the app on your phone to see what the current price is. Check it once a day. I don't even look at the prices all the time. Usually I get alerts. Like today, I got the alert, Bitcoin dropped 5%. Woohoo! All right, excited. I haven't even been checking prices. News crypto today hit a new all-time high. When I started working with News Crypto, we were at 2.5 cents. News Crypto is currently at $1.85. So, but do I check it every day? No, I wait for the alerts to set and to go off, because it's not about today or tomorrow. I'm not selling today or tomorrow. My goal is to accumulate. This is my wealth. This is my future. This is for the kids. So stop checking the price. Yeah, that's right, Paul. Blood pressure goes down too. Look, 2018 nearly killed me. Every time you check it, it was going down, and I was panicking. But really, when I think about it now, I should have just, luckily I was buying more, but I should have just been buying more. If you're not selling today, don't worry about the price dropping today. These people saying, oh, I lost this much money. No, you didn't. If you missed out on the opportunity to sell while it was higher, don't beat yourself up. It happens, and just look for more opportunities to accumulate lower. And if you want to try your hand at trading, then you can try trading, but just know sometimes you're going to sell it and it's going to keep going higher, and you're going to feel like you missed out, but you took a profit. Or you're going to buy it and it's going to keep dropping. And that happens. You're not going to catch the top or the bottom. But if consistent action over time is what's going to win. So that's it for this Around the Block. I know I get passionate when I talk about this. I could go for probably another hour, but that's it. That's Around the Block. If you feel this is important, you feel this is good for people to hear, share it with your network, share it with people. We've got great resources, 2 resources that I use that I personally promote. newscrypto.io. I'm going to share the link in the comments, but there's a great education section. You can create a free account on News Crypto and you can learn more about crypto. The education section is great. I know, because I helped them build it over the last year, and we're actually revamping it in the next month or so. We're working on something behind the scenes to make it even better. And then there's Blockchain Training Academy as well, which is another great resource for people to learn about crypto. Both of those have free resources for beginners. So check them both out, share it with everybody that needs to know about it. And look, hey guys, that's been watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. And hope to see you all soon. And definitely, if you want to learn more about crypto and really get some hands-on experience, make sure you're at our next Miami Crypto Experience. It's going to be in October, the 27th, 28th, 29th. And tickets are available now at a really cheap price, the cheapest they're going to be until event time. So have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you all later.